King Krozzy.
Hello everybody and welcome to my ArcheAge 10-hour review. Now this is an MMORPG, so of course this is only going to be a 10-hour review. It's not a full review of the game, but this will give you a good look at it from the 10-hour perspective to see if you even want to try it. So anyways, I am creating a character in the screen right now, and I'm just going to quickly read over the description for the game. Adventure in an open-ended MMORPG freed from predefined paths and progression. Build massive castles and lay claim to lands whose riches fuel a deep player-driven economy. Band together to protect your fortune in epic siege battles and naval combat, or live the life of an outlaw, prying glory and coin from foes left in your wake. Sounds pretty epic, doesn't it? So as you can see, the character customization screen is very strong. On the left hand side you can pick all of these features like hair color, facial hair and things like that, and your eyes and makeup and tattoos and scars, and you can even move the things around on your face. On the right hand side you get access to more detailed features. You can pick from predefined things. You can even have a little option to blend the looks that you have so far with some of the predefined faces, and then you can actually go into each part of the face and you can change every little tiny aspect and measurement of it, so it's really good. Wait for it. The detail of this character customization actually entertained me so much that I spent like 20 minutes making my character look exactly like me, but more heroic, obviously. Upon my very first time of logging in, I had a quick feel out for the user interface and the controls, and all I can say is it's not that great. It's okay. There's a lot of things that feel really weird, like the equipment slots being in the middle of your screen without any background or anything, but the stats all seem pretty simple. I'm not going to go into detail about everything, but it was okay. It's okay. I can't say that it felt too fluid, but it feels pretty good. The questing in the game is pretty straightforward and simple. You have quest givers that give you objectives to complete, and as I got closer to the 10 hours of gameplay, I feel like the questing's pretty weak. The quests usually come in groups of 2, mostly 1 or 2, sometimes 3, and they have you go to the same area, kill some of the same things. The storylines are pretty like randomly placed storylines, and like I don't know, I just felt that it was pretty weak so far. There is a main quest line arc that gives you these cutscenes of these kind of like narrated art pieces where it explains to you, you have like these random memories that come back to you, to your character, and you gotta try to piece things together and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. Lots of little cutscenes for the main story arc. I wasn't too into it. It's a little too random for me, but I think it's really cool so far.
Some would have even preferred to follow her to the...
The combat itself is pretty fluid. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's pretty good. I feel like, you know, the buttons respond well. There's nothing too clunky about it. It feels pretty good. I think it would do well in PvP, but I didn't really get a chance to do any PvP, but that'll have to be for another review. But the combat, it does feel pretty good. The dancing in this game is amazing. I've never seen anything like it personally, but yeah, there's 3 different dances that you get right away, and you can move while you're dancing, and they're just so good. And you know what? The review is over. My final verdict, A+, 10 out of 10, 100%. It's just so good. Just kidding. Here I am getting my first horse. You have to buy them when they're babies, and then you have to go through a little thing where you raise them and you feed them and water them and bathe them and play with them, and then you finally get your very own horse of your own. And I named mine Butternut. It's Buttercup. The mounts in the game is actually really cool. You get to put equipment on them that actually gives them defense and more life and stuff, and they level up with you the more you like ride them and have them around you. And you as they level up, they get like sprint and they get like mounted combat abilities and stuff. It's just really cool. The mounted part of this game is freaking awesome. I love it so far. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the crafting, housing, farming, and trading system that is in ArcheAge. It is arguably the most in-depth and most developed thing in the game, and it is what makes ArcheAge sandboxy, and it is what makes it the game that it is. So this is going to be really hard for me to explain because I have limited knowledge of only 10 hours of the review and a little bit of research. So most of this is going to be going off of what I've seen in game and the things that I talked about with other players. So take this with a massive grain of salt. Okay, so I guess the best thing for me to do is to try to explain this first, and then I'll go over why it's the elephant in the room. Alright, so there are 21 professions. I'll quickly name off the professions: alchemy, cooking, weaponry, carpentry, metalwork, leatherwork, tailoring, handicrafts, construction, machining, commerce, farming, husbandry, masonry, gathering, logging, mining, printing, fishing, larceny, composition. Now I'm going to be putting all these things on the screen, as you can see, to help illustrate everything, because there's a lot to go over here. Okay, so for each profession there is five skill tiers, right? The basic skill tier you can do with every profession. The novice is the next tier, and only 5 skills can be upgraded in novice. Veteran is the next one, and you can only do 4. Expert is the 4th, and you can only do 3. And master is the maxed out last tier, and only 2 skills can be upgraded to master per character. Okay, so now the housing and property. You can build your house with one of these skill tiers, or have somebody else build you your house or whatever, and you have to buy property first. Now on the property you pay taxes to the zone that whatever kingdom owns the property in the zone that you choose to build your house. And there's dozens of housing plots throughout the entire world, and they're quite big. Now on these properties that you buy and the houses that you build, you have farming space, and you'll use that to farm anything from vegetables to animals to trees, and they all have to do with the professions that I named earlier. So trading, when you're trading goods, you can craft tons of goods into these things called packs, and you carry packs on your back, and they make you move really slow, right? Now that's the disadvantage to trading large amounts of goods to other players, whether you got to take materials to your house to build it or whatnot, or whatever you can think of. Now you can also put packs on wagons and ships and different things like that that you can craft as well, or you can buy at least. So you can buy your own wagons and your own ships and stuff to help you move all these goods in large quantities. And there's also taxis that move from zone to zone. There's like wagons and airships and stuff like that. Okay, now here's where it gets even more interesting. Each zone has a specialty good that you can craft at that zone specialty crafting station. Now, when you craft the goods that are unique to that zone, the farther that you take it away from that zone to another zone and sell it, the more money you make. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. There's 2 major factions in the game that PvP each other. But you can also choose to PvP your own faction if you want to. You just turn the mode on. Now, you get negative karma, I think it is, and eventually you will become hostile to your own NPCs, and players can put you on trial and put you in jail and all kinds of stuff. It gets even more in depth there. But basically, whenever you're doing these big trade runs, you are at risk at pirates from your own faction or from anybody from the other faction. So it's high risk, high reward. Now, the labor points. If you notice in the lower left hand side, everybody has labor points, and as a free account you only generate 5 labor points every 5 minutes that you spend in game. It won't regenerate out of game. Now everything you do, from mining to crafting to opening bags to all kinds of stuff, it all requires labor points. Mining a node, when I was doing mining, it was 10 labor points per mine. When I looked at the very earliest crappiest gear that I could craft, it was 100 labor points. Now here's why this is the elephant in the room, in my opinion. Now ArcheAge is advertised as a completely free-to-play game, and while technically that's kind of true, they've placed some very hard limitations in the game if you're not willing to spend money. Now the number one reason that I can see is if you do not have Patreon status, which is $15 a month, then you cannot own property, which means you cannot buy a house, which means you cannot farm all these things that you need to farm in order to participate in the crafting and trading community. Now granted, you could still help your other friends that are Patreon status. I mean, still, it's a pretty hard limitation. Now there is public farms that you can go to, but they only allow you to plant select kind of things, and you only get, I do believe it said 24 hours, and after that it becomes free for anybody to grab. So if you're planting a bunch of stuff and you can't log on within the next 24 hours, I mean, it's up for grabs. Now granted, I heard that people can steal stuff from your property as well, but they leave traces by so you can figure out who it is. I don't think that's the case in public farms. Could be wrong. The other thing that Patreons get is they get 10 labor points regened every 5 minutes instead of 5, so they get double the labor points. And then on top of that, they get 5 labor points every 5 minutes, just like the free-to-play account does while they're offline. So every time they come back online, they have a crap ton more labor points, and if they have alts, then they have almost infinite labor points. Now here's where it gets even more kind of, I don't want to use the word pay to win, but it seems kind of that way. You can buy things called labor potions for $1 that restore, I think, 1,500 or 1,000 labor or something instantly. And I do believe there's a cooldown on them, but that's a crap ton of labor that you can buy. Now here's the third thing, is pretty much everything that you craft requires some sort of dust. And personally, I've not found out a way to get dust. The game hasn't introduced a way for me to get these dusts. They're like moonlight dust and sunlight dust and stuff like that. And I have seen that you can farm trees to get the dust. But, I mean, obviously, if you don't have patron status, you can't have your own farm, so you're forced to go to find a public farm, which I couldn't even find a public farm that I could grow trees in. And even that seems like it might be a pain in the butt. The other thing that I've seen is that you can buy chests with the dust and other random loot for a couple bucks or $5 or something. So that's kind of a big problem for me. The fact that you can buy these things that can excel your characters so well. It's seeming to me like this might be one of those games where if you have a big wallet or mommy and daddy's credit card, you can get really far ahead of everybody else. So that is a huge, I wouldn't say problem for me. It's not, I don't really say it's a problem, but it's definitely it's gonna affect the review for sure. Okay, this video has gone on long enough, but as always with 10-hour reviews, there's a lot to cover. So let me go ahead and give the verdict. First, I'm going to go over the positive points of the game. It looks great. It has Eastern, slightly Asian feel, but everything blends together very well. I mean, it looks good. It has a huge amount of things to do. Can't stress that enough. I mean, I still can't wrap my head around all the different things you can do. It is very player and guild driven, the entire game. It's very much a sandbox style MMO. So those are all positive points of the game. Negative points. You need a good computer to play this game. I had to turn down some of the graphics, and I was still getting glitches and FPS drops. I mean, of course, I didn't put any of them in this video because I want to make a good video. But another negative point, you will miss out on a major portion of the game if you don't buy the monthly patron status. I mean, there it is. I mean, it's plain to see. And then on top of that, you can still spend money in the cash shop to get an advantage over patron status players. So really, there is no limit to how much money that you can spend to get ahead in this game, and that's a really big negative point for me. The last negative point that I can think of, the questing so far is pretty bad. I mean, if you're a really big fan of questing in other MMOs and stuff, yeah, so far from this 10-hour review, the questing it's pretty bad compared to other MMOs I've played. So for the final verdict on the game, 10-hour review, I give it a solid C+. I give it a C+. That's my review. Do I recommend it? I'm not sure if I would recommend it. I'm gonna play it more as a free-to-player when it launches. And I'll try to get a 25-hour review out there, so stay tuned to that. But can I really recommend it? If it looks good to you, then yeah, I recommend it. Now, before anybody gets angry at me and comments on this video saying that companies need to make money, I agree, definitely. I just think that there are better ways to do it. For example, Lord of the Rings Online, their free-to-play system, I think is literally 10 times better than this one, in my opinion. But with that said, I'm probably, most definitely going to be doing a 24-hour review of ArcheAge, and I'll put the link up right here in the middle of the screen somewhere. And who knows, my review could drastically change. I might give it an A+ after I spent more time in it. I don't know. I do not have a problem with spending a modest amount of money on a game that I truly enjoy. So this is only the 10-hour review. I mean, please take it with a massive grain of salt. With that said, if you enjoy down-to-earth and honest reviews of games past the clutter of I don't want to say bull crap, but more fanboy type reviews and things, then please subscribe to my channel for more. The biggest thing you can do is share my video, like this video, drop me a comment, let me know what you think about this review. Let me know of any other games and whatnot, and I will see you next time.